I wanted to create moods, so it's a film with a lot of moods, which means, you know, it's not a genre film. I tried to move into different genres. So my challenge was, and my goal was to make a film which has maybe 4 genres, you know, and you have a little buddy movie, you have a little thriller. So what I was interested in is to move between those genres. So, the message is really up to the audience. I think you can take a lot of messages out of this film. The friendship between the two protagonists is very strong. So the friendship was really important for me. Mm-hmm. So I think the whole buddy movie aspect was really important. And it has some, and that's why it's here probably at the Fantastic Film Festival, it has some fairy tale, it has some thriller. So it's really the mixture of all those genres which makes the film interesting for me. It was the purpose to create, and that's why I was talking about those moods, you know, to create a very claustrophobic mood. So I think normally when you watch a film, it's, you know, you have a lot of ups and downs. So you have very good moments and you have very sad moments. And with Trapped, you start the film, and at the beginning it's really like funny, and so on, to think, what is this? You know, where do we go? And then it's like a lasso, you know, pulling together over 90 minutes. So within this movement between genres, you know, I tried to get, you know, to really pull it together and to dance in my mood, and this was an intention, and I think it goes pretty well because we're, as you said, at a very pretty place, you know, and you have a lot of fairy tale aspects. You never know, is this an imagination, is it an unimagination? So this contrast between the setting and the actual events is really strong, and I think that works quite well. Well, financial problems, the situation was like this. The reason I made Trapped is because normally it's really hard to get funding for your first film. It's the same here probably, you know. The first film is hard because you don't have a name, you're not paid, nothing, you know. And there are a lot of people looking for the same money. So I wrote 2 scripts within the last 3 years, and you know, I tried to get money for those 2 scripts. They had nothing to do with Trapped. Trapped was a new project. So they told me, you know, I wanted to do those films in English, and I wanted to go a little different route. So if you get money from Switzerland, you have to have a relation with the location. I didn't do it on purpose, but for some reason my 2 scripts were not really related to Switzerland because I wanted to have international things. So it was even harder to get money. So I didn't get money. So I threw those 2 scripts away for the moment and said, okay, I want to find another way how we can make films in Switzerland. So, and then I defined, okay, it's an experiment, you know. Let's call it an experiment. How much money can we throw in this experiment? How much can we afford if everything goes wrong? And then I came up and said, okay, let's set the limit to 70,000 euros. The film is made for 70,000 euros. And then we tried, you know, with crowdfunding and sponsoring to get those 70,000 euros. And then the next step was that I, you know, asked myself, how can we make a film with 70,000 euros? And then I come up with, okay, we can only have 1 location. We don't use light, we don't use grip, there's nothing. We only have 5 people, young actors because they're cheap. We don't take them from the USA, we get them from London because the flight is cheaper, and so on. You know, crowdfunding has its limits. So I think it's not possible to get a lot of money. I think 50,000 to 100 euros is the limit, but I think it's a very good marketing tool. The thing is, I don't know how it is here, but in Switzerland, a lot of times you make a film and then you put it in the cinemas and then you start to think about marketing, you know, who will watch this film. So the good thing about crowdfunding, since you have to start 1 year before you produce, that you can include your target audience in the process already at the very early stage. So I addressed all those people like 6 months before we started shooting, so they were on track, you know, they could follow our video blog, and you can be sure if someone gives you €5 for the film, they go to watch the film because they want to see if they read the credits. Well, it's a different thing, you know, I make a living with corporate films because you cannot live with feature films. So I think both is really interesting. I think making feature films is, for me as a director and writer, it's really good because you can make a film with your own ideas. Nobody tells you what to do. In the corporate film sector, they tell you what to do. Still, when I do a corporate film, I always try to bring in some narrative approach, you know, to tell a story. So it's a good practice for feature films. I have 2 new feature film projects. One is funny story. I think it's less depressing than Trapped. Something for women too. And it's a very personal thing because originally when I finished high school I went to the United States to study music, so I'm a musician from my heart. And I played with my band at about 200 weddings, 187 weddings. So from my perspective as a musician, I saw everything you can see on weddings. Time I was on a wedding and I saw something really special, good or bad, I wrote it down. So after 15 years now, I have 10 pages of notes which I made my weddings. So I put this into a film, and I think it could be a really interesting film, you know, a lot of contrast. So marriage from a musical perspective, that's one film. And the other one is one script I wrote. It's a road movie. Before I did Trapped, which didn't fit into the government framework, so I put it aside for the moment. It's a very deep friendship between an old man and a young guy, and it takes place in Belgium, in Switzerland, and in the